You know, and there are ways that we handle people without aggravating the issue. So maybe you might think that we are trying to help him, but you might end up killing him.
So when we meet accident, we should call the fire service.
Exactly. And then what you can do to help is that try to engage the person in the conversation. It's important to engage the person in the conversation so that the conversation helps to keep the person alive. Oh, your friend was saying, "Ufri, oh,
somebody trapped in the car. I should ask your friend saying, "Ask how are you?"
Yes, because once the person is lying down unconscious, or when the person, you know, there's no activity, the person can go into shock or can go unconscious and might die. So once you engage the person, help is on the way. Oh, hold on, your children are waiting for you. Say something encouraging. Engage the person. So once you engage the person, it sustains the person and keeps the person's nervous system awake.
Okay.
You know, so as to prevent the person from going unconscious and probably dying.
If my tap is not flowing, can I call fire service to bring me water?
So no, and yes.
If my tap is not flowing, I need water, can I call you? So
it's a no and yes. So fire service renders humanitarian services to people, all right. And so probably in a period of national disasters, or when there's a national problem, then the Ghana National Fire Service, as part of our mandate, goes to deliver water to communities. When there was dam spillage recently in the Volta region, our officers there performed so many humanitarian services by providing water to the affected community. So yes, that's why I said yes and no. No, because if you don't have water, please call on the Ghana Water to give you water. But then in times of emergencies, then the Ghana National Fire Service owes it a duty to the good people of Ghana to provide such humanitarian services to them.
How many prank calls do you get in a day?
In a day, we receive over hundreds of prank calls.
Hundreds of prank calls.
Over hundreds of prank calls in a
day.
To
the Ghana National Fire Service.
To the Ghana National Fire Service. I think one time TV3 was in our control room, and then they had some of the prank calls themselves. Someone called and asked, "Have you people watched Avatar before?" See, if I tell you some of the preposterous things people do, someone can call that my wife's somewhere is on fire. Come and question.
Hey, people say that.
You won't believe it. Some people even, I said this on Joy and people thought I was lying. Some people even sometimes masturbate. Some people even sometimes masturbate on our calls. When they call the call center and then they hear the voice of a lady. Some of them do outrageous things.
They call your call center and they masturbate with it.
Yes, you hear them jacking off.
Oh, fire service. Is that so?
And you see, and once you see, when people do these silly things, they forget that in doing this, you are depriving someone who has a legitimate emergency the access to getting to the Ghana National Fire Service. Okay, all right. How many hours?
Let's go.
So we've done. So once you know when you call on the Ghana National Fire Service and you don't get through to us, and so congratulations. So you see, once there's an emergency, just like your mobile phone, if someone calls until the person gets off the line, you can't pick another call. Until the person gets off the line. So once you are on the line playing pranks on us, if someone has a legitimate concern or a legitimate emergency, the person will get through to us. That's why they sometimes say that your fire service
because sometimes people will be calling and you don't pick.
Yes, that's because someone is on the line. So until the person gets off the line, you can't pick another call. So that's why we always tell people to be each other's keeper, because for all you know, you might not be home, but your house might be burning, and because you are pranking, you know, you are blocking someone from helping get through to us. So prank calls is one thing that we frown upon, and we are collaborating with the national security, the police, and other key stakeholders to come down hard at the people who are fond of such illegality.
Sometimes, is it true, people have argued and have alleged that you sometimes move to fire scenes without water. Is it possible?
Okay, so this will be the interviewing the interviewer. Please, have you personally witnessed something like that?
No.
You see, so it becomes an old age misconception, and it becomes funny, because you, the person who's calling the Ghana National Fire Service, you even know that you're supposed to go to fires without water. So why would the fire officer be there and then they'll say, so
it's not possible you can move your fire engine to a fire scene without water?
It's never possible. You see, there are excruciating circumstances that let people think that. You'd never hear a fire officer say that he needs you. No way. But what happens is that, you see, the water in the tank needs a pump to be able to give the pressure for us to be able to use for the pressure to pass the water through the hoses for us to fight the fire. We can get to a fire scene and we can have pump failure.
Okay.
So you realize that they will say, but you see people with buckets fetching water from this tender. So if you're where is the water?
Okay.
So if you're where is the water? You see, so it becomes very funny. And then also, so the pump sometimes fails because the appliance is.
But don't you try before you move? You
see, we try it every morning before a crew takes over from the other crew. You have to try your pump. But you see, it's a machine. Just like you can go to the harbour, buy a car, drive it from the harbour, get home, and the next day it's not working.
Okay.
It's a machine. So it sometimes happens that way. Also, so as a station, that's as a service, that's why we always appeal for new and advanced fire tenders, because these fire tenders come with the pumps.
Okay.
Because these pumps are like very old, so they tend to go on and off. So that's why we keep appealing for new fire tenders. Also, one thing is that we don't fight just every fire with water.
We don't fight every fire with water.
So let me cast your mind back to this unfortunate incident. You remember I forgot the dates, but the fire incident that happened at Circle,
yes,
Vienna City.
Okay, is it June 3rd?
June 3rd, thank you very much. You realize on that day it was raining so heavily. So if water could quench every fire, we wouldn't have had that emergency that situation we had on that day. Because the rainwater would have probably doused the fire and there would have been no need for that situation happening. But because the fire involved petroleum products, so it becomes a problem. You can't just fight it with water. You need a different approach to fight it. If the fire involves electricity, you can't just go and pour water on it. So that's why sometimes you get to a fire scene and there are people who behave as if they have sense than the fire officers, and then they'll go and take a bucket and just pour it on the fire. They'll die.
Sometimes when your men get to the fire scene, we expect them to move very fast, pull their pipes, but sometimes they will be standing and be walking, and sometimes like.
Okay, so you see, once that's why we have to. So it's not that they are being lackadaisical, but it's procedure. When
from the first laugh to the first creative thought to the first win to the first move to those long-lasting, intimate conversations, to enjoyable dining moments, to those happy family gatherings, to relaxing bedtime moments. At Ketia, we make those moments that matter to you an enjoyable one. So good that you would not want it to end. Hashtag good problems.
Do you have gas cylinders in there? How did the fire start? Or maybe it started from the meter. Once you tell us it started from the meter, then we'll communicate to our control room to contact ECG to cut power supply to the area before we are able to apply water on it.
Okay.
So when our men get there and we are waiting on ECG to cut power supply to the area, then they say, "Oh, man, fancy you know." But the unfortunate thing is that we are waiting on ECG to cut power supply so that we'll be able to to fight the fire. So we'll never move to a fire scene. And in fact, if you see or witness anything like that, please report the person to me. We'll take action on it.
So it is not possible.
It is never possible that the fire tender, you see, the fire tender always has water in there. So even at the stations, when a vehicle or an appliance is out of commission, when you open the tank, you'd still see water in there.
But the faulty appliance.
Faulty appliance even has water in there. But the pump that will propel the water to come out with force through the hoses is where sometimes the malfunction comes in. So we'd never go to a fire scene without water. That one is a big no. And you see, painful thing is that misconceptions have a way of sticking in people's minds instead of, misconceptions have a way of sticking in people's minds instead of the good things. See, we've gone to so many fires and it becomes heartwarming when we see people and the tankers that, fire, just yesterday, Nyamicha Junction, someone's 6-bedroom house got bent. They kept, even though some of the rooms got bent, we were able to salvage other buildings even within the compound. They kept thanking us. Palace Pharmacy at Dankwa Circle, they called on us for a fire at there's a nightclub next to Palace Pharmacy, Mood Bar.
Okay, yeah.
Very good. Mood Bar was on fire. When Palace called us, within 5 minutes we got there. The owner kept thanking me that, you did very well. And you see, and I even wanted to video him and put it on our Facebook page of him acknowledging our men's effort. He said no, and I always said that those who have sensible things to say, they don't always those who have sensible things to say, they never want to talk on camera. But the people who come and spew lies and those are the people that will always talk on camera. But those who have the real things to say, it's rather unfortunate, but we are unperturbed.
What is the latest update on your men? There was this fire around Westland and the building collapsed. And what is the situation so far?
By God's grace, they've all been discharged.
Okay.
By God's grace, but it was life threatening because it was a matter of life and death. 4 of them were in very critical condition. 2 were treated and discharged, but the other 2 were in very life-threatening condition. But our service has always been committed to the safety and then the welfare of our officers. So they made sure that they didn't renege on the quality of healthcare delivery to these affected officers.
Are fire officers insured?
A big no.
Why?
You see, so as a people, I always say that as a people, we are hoping that the public will help us. The public will help us cry for what we need, because people are always scared of thieves. So because people are always scared of thieves, they fight more for their security need much more than their safety need. So it's our prayer that there will be an insurance package for firefighters who get injured in the line of duty. What we have is what every government worker in Ghana has. That's the workman's compensation. And with that, when you go and you get injured, you'd have to use your own money to take care of yourself.
Wow.
And then later go for a refund.
I have been to your office several times. I see some of your men with a lot of bends around their neck. So there is no compensation.
And those are the ones who have survived.
Some die.
We have a lot of them dying because of the smoke they inhale. So those that you see bends are lucky ones who always thank God for their lives.
Do you have some form of compensation for family members, especially in case you lose?
No compensation is big enough to bring back your loved one. It's not that much, So that's all part of what we are hoping that it's all part of what we are hoping that with time, better compensations can be made to affected families. And then, because we have what we call the fireman's prayer. When any fireman is going out to work, he prays that God. So there's a fire. Teshi fertilizer.
Okay.
There's fires every time.
Every time.
Yes.
Okay, so Teshi right now.
Yes, Teshi fertilizer. So our team at Trade Fair are the ones going there. And
Okay.
look at the distance from Trade Fair to Teshi Fertilizer.
But
And
you don't have any.
And they are coming in. You see, no
Okay.
man. So so the good thing is that our station in Ngwa is in commission.
Okay.
So and you see how fast it is.
Okay.
They are on their way. They were just giving them the fire
Right now, and they are on
their way.
Okay.
You see, so there's no way that you call on the fire service and would deliberately delay. There are excruciating circumstances that are beyond our control. Today, for instance, someone's car was getting bent at Amomole.
Olebu Amomole.
Yeah, Olebu Amomole, Canada Junction.
Okay.
So the nearest fire tender was Anya. Anya were on their way going to the fire, and their car developed the fault. So we had to now call on Wager Wager SEC
Okay.
to now proceed to that fire. Immediately they finished the fire, there was another domestic fire at Tabora, number 6.
Okay.
Just before I came here.
Mm-hmm.
So I was even telling your team, just before I came here. So you see, fires happen a lot. But just that the only thing is that the truth of the matter is that the GNFS is not so much resourced.
But one of your mandates is to educate people. What are you doing? Because you are mandated by law to educate people on fires. What are you doing about it?
And trust me, we don't relax on that commitment to educate. So I would say that our education is what has driven us a 6% decrease in fires this year as of now, as compared to what we recorded the same period last year. You see, but it's, as I said earlier, it's an attitudinal problem. People are much more geared or much more shifted or tilted towards their security much more than their safety. Our officers go to places to do education, and people can tell them that
Hey,
yes,
people say that.
people say that. And you see, last 2 years, Onia TV, Onia FM, no, I think 3FM,
Okay.
they collaborated with us, the PR department, to do fire education at Dome Market. It was such a shame that people were not listening to us. People were not listening, and that same night, Mile 7 Market caught fire. That same night, Mile 7 Market had caught fire. So it's like people always feel that fires are too far away from them until they tend to experience it. And when someone spends a day with me and then they hear the gota mobile to fire, then they go, hey, and then we because people always say, oh, fire for the, but see, firefighters are the biggest heroes that you can.
Do you have
ever find.
motorbikes like what's the police?
Unfortunately,
You don't have
we don't have
motorbikes.
motorbikes, and so that's this one. I'll throw a little shade to our brothers and uncles at ECG that whenever their meters, their transformers and their ECG, their poles catch fire, we are the ones that respond to it. Wouldn't it be nice if you could provide us with some appliance or some rapid intervention vehicles or motorcycles that would help us be able to quickly get to your installations early and help you out?
Let me ask you this. It seems that anytime, okay, so a typical Ghanaian youth, most people don't want to be firemen. When military forms are out, you see people rushing. When immigration forms are out, you see people rushing. If it has to do with the police, people rush. There is a mad rush for people to pick forms and get enrolled. It seems you've been neglected, so nobody wants to even come to you. Is that the case?
So, point of correction, last year, the recruitment, fire service was the oversubscribed service than all the other services.
Wow.
Believe it or not.
People
So
want to be firemen.
and they insult us. So it's it's ironic, it's ironic. Then we ask them that now Oku did attempt. Oh, man, didn't attempt that over you. But video no. And so when you report for training, one of the things that we always say is that when one of the songs that they sing is that Udi attempt and then
So do you have fire police?
we have fire police, just that they are not resourced.
They are not
to
resourced.
perform their duties.
Do you use arms, fire service?
That's one thing we are pushing for, that would at least be able to get some arms to be able to protect our men, not to go kill anybody, but sometimes a warning shot can help put some fear and order in people.
Because sometimes when you get to fire scenes, your men are attacked?
A lot of times, and you see, people then will be like, why don't you call the police? We call on the police, but you see, the police are also there performing their own duties. You know, they are our brothers in uniform, but then we can't always call on them when we are going for fires, because then they will also need to mobilize their vehicle. They will also have to get there, you know, calling their men, and at that time the fire is not waiting and the attack on our men are not waiting. So if our fire police are empowered with some basic protective weapons or measures, it can be able to forestall any kind of attack that will be meted out on our
So would you say the fire service is attractive enough to get a lot of youth coming on board? Is it attractive?
It's attractive. So you see, our team are the fire scene. They're the fire scene now.
Wow. Right now.
Someone's house is on fire.
Okay.
And this is just less than 5 minutes.
So they are there they are talking to control room.
Yes.
So in case they need reinforcement.
Yes.
Then,
then they will inform control room that they need make pump 2, meaning that their appliance is not big enough to fight the fire. Which shouldn't be the case, because then we are supposed to have a working hydrant in every community, so that as they've got there right now, you know, the appliance would even be the last resort. They would resort to the hydrant, so that they'll be assured of constant water supply.
What's happening to your hydrant in town?
You see, the hydrants are not the property of the Ghana National Fire Service.
Okay.
They're the property of the Ghana Water Company and you, the Ghanaian.
Okay.
Because for every water bill that is sent to you, 1% of that money is meant for servicing fire hydrants and meant for firefighting to protect you. But the unfortunate thing is that we all know the menace of Galamsey here in Ghana, and the fact that Galamsey has made it very difficult for even you at home to get water running through your taps. So we are hoping for better collaboration with the Ghana Water Company, so that we'll be able to better have more working hydrants. You know, to be able to safeguard and secure the good people of Ghana.
Military have their barracks, police have their barracks. Do you have something like that? You have barracks or something?
Not really.
You don't have anything like fire service?
We don't have, and you know, and kudos to our current chief, Chief Julius Kuno.
Yeah,
He's
Kuno.
been very phenomenal. He's a phenomenal man who, under him, we've seen great transformation and great leadership, an epitome of excellence, if I can put it that way. Because initially, fire service that had just one training school at just a second. So this is. So now they've called for reinforcements. So trade fair are on their way to augment the efforts of the station there. So they are at Kofi Annan going there.
Wow.
So that's how fast we work. That's how fast we work. So it's a pity when people berate our men who worked so tirelessly to put their lives, you know, on the line. Because see, this fight they are going to fight, they don't know the owner. The owner is not their family member. The owner is not their church member. The owner is not their girlfriend or their husband. They are going there at the peril of their lives.
Yeah.
So the least you can say is to say thank you after they fought fire. And we don't fire service in Dumja. Let me say this in Cree. Fire service in Shija. Dumja. You know, so you can't come and be attacking our men as if we set the fire. If maybe you had listened to our men when they came around educating, or when they came around talking about safety and how to protect yourself, you might probably not find yourself in that situation.
How far away your TV station, Fire Service TV?
Oh, thanks to you.
Yeah, so currently we are live on Fire Service TV. So those of you here in Accra and outside Accra, we are live on Fire Service TV, and they are carrying this interview live on. So are you doing more of your education on TV?
We do more of our education. If you go on our Facebook page, you'd see a lot of stories about education. You go on TV, you see a lot of our education. This is an educational piece, so no wonder we are carrying it live on our TV station to show the importance that we attach to fire safety, and the fact that any little advantage we get, we want to use that as an opportunity to churn out fire safety messages for the good people of Ghana to learn and adhere. So okay, so back to the question about our institutions. So as I was talking about our chief officer, we used to have just one fire training school.
One fire training school.
Yes,
across the
whole
16
Ghana. regions
of Ghana.
So,
one fire.
So recently,
wow,
we had just one that trained both senior officers and junior officers. But under this man, we've under this chief, we've had one at Dioya Nkwanta.
Okay.
We have one at Wungu, and then we are hoping to commission one at Chebi very soon, making it 4 training schools. So I would say Paul Amantemo Chendi Kamfo. We are behind, but we're hoping that with visionary leadership like what we've seen recently, we should be able to, try to close the deficits.
Wow. You are doing so well. Just that we didn't know a lot of things. You are the people in charge. For instance, accident and certain
and even
things.
when you fall in, even when someone falls in a manhole or a pit, the Ghana National Fire Services are the ones that can.
Are you mandated to do that? Is that what?
It's all part of our jobs. So we use. The unfortunate thing is that I always say, may this man's soul rest in peace. Yes, so Joseph, I think he was posthumously promoted to ADU prior to his death. He went to rescue 3 children from a pit.
Wow.
But he couldn't come out and he died.
Inside there.
Yes. And these children are not his children. I'm sure by now the children don't even remember him. But this is someone who put his life down, just to give a chance to these children. He has children also.
Okay.
And he was not rescuing his children, he was rescuing someone's children. So those are all part of our mandates. And when there's fire, I think Captain Smart told me that he has seen us fighting fires, and when he sees our men, it's like we are hungry for fire. Because when our men get down, Charlie, they are like Ija. So one of our slogans is fire. Where is it? It's like when there's fire, we are looking for where the fire is. So our men are very self-motivated, despite the fact that we are constrained when it comes to logistics. Our men are self-motivated, and we are hoping that this self-motivation will be rewarded by some, modern investment made to the Ghana National Fire Service.
Getting fuel in your fire engines, is it difficult getting fuel?
I would say no service in Ghana would say it's easy to get fuel. No service. No service in Ghana would say they have enough fuel to fuel. What we have is not enough, and we are hoping that it could be better. So it's not really enough, and there are situations where some stations struggle with fuel because you see, as I mentioned, wages fire tender. They've gone to fires I think 3 times today.
Wow.
And whenever they cover a very far distance. And when you go, because we are using the pump, the fire tender would have to be on all through. So if you are at the fire scene for 2 hours, the tender will have to be on for the whole 2 hours.
Okay, because it needs to power the pumps.
Yes, to power the pumps. You see, so imagine this car going for fires an average of 2 hours for about 3 or 4 fires in a day. So it puts a toll on the fueling of these tenders. So we're hoping that much more better interventions will be made so that at least it can cushion the stations that attend fires, especially a lot.
Some have suggested that do you go to churches, mosques to speak to people on fire, how to prevent fires? Do you do that?
It is one of our hunting grounds.
Okay.
It's actually one of our hunting grounds because that's where we get a lot of people, and then so that's one place that we don't joke with.
Okay.
Schools, churches, and we are actually open to organizations, churches, schools,
if they invite you for training.
And even if you don't invite us, we'll come like a kite.
And another thing is that every building or public space or place should have fire certificates.
Exactly.
And you don't enforce that. I don't understand why you don't enforce that.
Well, you see, we're all in Ghana, and so we enforce. We're all in Ghana. We know how sometimes some bureaucratic bottlenecks come into play. Someone knows someone who knows someone who knows someone somewhere. So in enforcement, sometimes you meet some obstacles, and as a service, we are, day in, day out, we are coming up with ways to be able to beat some of these bottlenecks and hope that, but I think especially with buildings, today I've had calls from someone who said he's opening a hospital and he has been instructed that he needs the fire service certificate before approval can be given to him. So enforcement is being done, but I think there's more that can be done, and we're hoping that some of you with good platforms can help us get people to adhere to some of these demands.
Should every home have a fire extinguisher?
Every home.
Is it mandated by law?
Mandated. And you see, people will put up right now. How much is a block? The cost of say 50 blocks could even buy a fire extinguisher.
50 blocks.
Yes, if I'm not mistaken. The cost of 50 blocks could buy an extinguisher. So you buy over 2,000 or 3,000 blocks or 5,000 blocks to build a house, and you don't buy a single fire extinguisher. And you see, mind you, when a fire comes to when a fire visits you, you'd have to break down your building, depending on the extent of damage.
You have to break down.
Yes.
Anytime a building catches fire,
an extensive level of fire, because then once the building is subject to so much heat and fire, it tends to lose its structural integrity, and you'd see visible cracks.
And you need to pull everything.
Pull it down.
After fire, after you come to any fire scene, do you do investigations?
We do investigations.
Oh, every fire.
Every fire. We have an active investigation department that looks into fires. So when you apply, so people ask us that, they said they are doing investigation, but we never hear anything about it. That's because it's not a property that's on fire. So we don't owe you that responsibility of giving the fire certificate to you. We owe it to the owner of the property. And it's even with that one, I won't say it's a right, it's a privilege, because you would have to apply to the Ghana National Fire Service that, this is my house that got burnt, so I need the findings.
So when I come, or anyone, is it compulsory for us to get those findings?
Yes, it's important. One, it helps you prevent future occurrences. Two, if you need an insurance claim, you need a fire report to be able to help with your claim. So yes, it helps you want to prevent a similar issue from happening, because you would want to know what caused the fire. So it's important that you get in touch like that. So I think the crew from Trade Fair have arrived at the scene.
Okay.
So at the fire scene. You see, so our men are always constant. There's fires every, and this, trust me, this is not the last fire for the day.
Wow.
At dawn.
And sometimes they get to the fire scenes, and it is electrical problem, and you see them placing call. I don't know. You call ECG.
Exactly.
And how fast is that?
Recently, personally, I did a video on our Facebook page where our men were fighting a fire involving an ECG transformer, and they were there geared up, ready to fight the fire. They had called on ECG in about 15 to 20 minutes. The ECG has not responded yet. We are
so you call customer service?
No, we call our control room, and the control room calls the ECG's fault section. So that they get
that fault section is difficult for them to pick calls.
But our people,
you have a special line.
We have lines because we attend to their fires, but we understand and appreciate the fact that they also have their hands full with other emergencies. But then they should get to understand that they should help prioritize ours more, because ours would, if they are late if they respond late to us, they can end up incurring much more cost, because they would have to then invest more to replace the damaged installation, which could have easily been prevented. So it's one of the appeals that we are making, that ECG should help be a bit more responsive to the Ghana National Fire Service. So one, we can help protect their own installation and investments.
Wow. I want to remind you that still we are live on Fast Service TV. You can get them on digital, terrestrial, free to air channel number 32. You just scan your television set, channel number 32, and this conversation is live on Fire Service TV. Let me say a very good evening to Mr. Afum. Yes, the main PR.
My boss, my boss. He's a man that I respect so much.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he believes in grooming. If you come to the PR office, you realize that you won't see any old man.
Yeah.
Even my boss is not an old man. You know, you'd see. You know, so shout out to Adio Bless. Shout out to ASO Afejo. To my bosses to ICD Aka. You know, they are all everyone in the office. Joanne. Madam Akochu, everyone in the office,
and Fire Service TV MCR Edwin is there.
Yes,
Swansea,
Swansea,
yeah.
Swansea is a man, man. He's a hard guy.
Yeah, so
and
Swansea's,
his wife is also a very.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you know, met his wife. His wife normally does a switching.
Oh, okay.
This working happiness.
So we are live on Fire Service TV, kind courtesy of Swansea. So please, what times do you have? So on Fire Service TV, how often in the day? How often are we going to watch some of these educational programs on? At what time?
So you see, we are still rolling out programs.
You've not started full operations.
Yes, I would say we've started halfway. We've started like half productions because then we had to get the studio ready, and we all know that even our space is not so much, but our chief, again, kudos to our chief who has been committed to empowering the PR and then resourcing the TV station. So under his watch, we're hoping to roll out much more content that would, you know, help people to understand the need for education. It's been, Fire Service has been, I would say, I won't say neglected, but forgotten a bit, and we are hoping that, you know, it will change, and so people tend to appreciate and know the worth of the Fire Service, would fall back as a nation, because you see, fires are not funny. A thief would come, God forbid, but if a thief should come here, he will probably take the Shure microphone. The microphone is nice. Take your laptop. It probably might not be able to carry this table away.
No,
he can't take this whole structure away. But the fire comes and doesn't select what to take away. The fire will take everything away, including the whole building, and cause you to bring. When a thief steals from you, you don't have to break down your building.
Yeah.
So why do you fear the one? Or if a thief comes to you, you can negotiate with him that, oh, Patrolman Kumio, no 10,000 that they mount. You know, you can negotiate with him that, okay,
yeah,
the 10,000 so I'm imagining, sir, and he can probably take it and let you go. But the fire, you can't tell him that, oh, Papa, no 50,000 won't Tijina mention. You burn. So why then do you fear the one that you can't negotiate with more than the one that you can negotiate with? So as a people, let's try and draw a fine balance between our safety and our security.
Okay, I want you to watch directly into this camera. Ghana is watching you right now. What do you want to say? If you have any advice, you can go ahead and do that. Okay,
so one thing I always say is that our stations do not have padlocks on them. Our stations are always open. You know, so whenever there's fire or whenever you need education, you can walk into any of our stations and ask that, oh, please, I want to protect myself from fires. Well, how can I protect myself from fires? And our safety departments at the various stations will be glad to offer the assistance. It's important also that you get to know the number of the fire station that responds to your area. So that during emergencies you can call them directly. You can, yes, call our emergencies line 192 112, and then I'll put out another number. But then once you get to know the station that responds to you, probably if you stay at Pokwase, Amasaman, or Fanko Barrier, you know that Amasaman station is the one that responds to you. It's important that you get to know the number for Amasaman fire station and call them directly. But when you go and call the control room, you know, it will now pass through a chain before it gets to them. But please try and support your local fire stations. It would be nice if you can go, you know, dig up a mechanized borehole and tell them that we understand the constraints that you are going through. when it comes to hydrants. So we are digging up mechanized boreholes to help you serve us better. We are there for you.
Okay.
You know, so yes, walk into your local fire station, ask them, how can I help you? What do you need? And then our people will be glad enough to let you know what they need. And then I'm sure you can help in contributing to that.
Officer, thank you so much for passing through
Pleasure.
my Guinness World Record longest interview marathon. It was exciting to have you as I broke that record. So we are setting new record. Doc, okay, so my doctor says that I think I need to take a break. And team, I'm going to take a break. Yes, so Doc, okay, so my doctor says I should take a break. So let me take a break for some time. I shouldn't go for a break and have another person coming through. Okay, so I'm not taking a break. Thank you, officer.
Good luck, and I know I'm rooting for you. You've already got it in Jesus' name.
Amen. Thank you so much.